Happy Halloween, everybody. I have got my Halloween special double header and sneak surprise game at the end. So stay tuned to see what my third game is that I'm playing with my husband on Halloween. So I'm going to start with my very first game. This is a cooperative game. It is called Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard. So you better believe it. I'm going to be playing Dr. Jekyll, or huge jacked man, right? I mean, tell me that doesn't look just like Hugh Jackman. And then my husband's going to be playing Mr. Hyde. Now, it doesn't matter who plays who. They are just going to be characters that you have in front of you, because when the token is on the leading character, it's going to show that it's either Dr. Jekyll or it's going to be on Mr. Hyde's side. So it's really just fun and flavor, but you are both playing together because you're one person and you are essentially transitioning back and forth, and you are of two minds, which really plays well with this two-player cooperative game. You're playing together, but you also don't know what the other person is thinking. So thematically, mechanics-wise, it just works so well. So on this board out here, you're going to see that this is going to be the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde character token that is essentially on its way to get to this space. And not just to get to this space, but perfectly. In the earlier games, they really train you and they teach you the game, game by game by game and chapters. But really the goal here is not to exceed this space, and the training is there because if you do in later chapters exceed this space on your trick taking, you have to move Scotland Yard closer to you. And if Scotland Yard ever catches up to you or surpasses you, you lose the game. So how does this work? Players are going to shuffle up a deck of cards that has three different suits. You've got this fox suit. You've got the blue suit, which is the spider suit. Gosh, I didn't even realize it was spiders. I just called it blue. Now I'm super creeped out. And then you've also got this suit, which is the bird. I'm going to say maybe a raven or a crow. And then you've got these things called potions. And potions are little bottle symbols, and they also have this kind of white color to it. So these are the cards, and they're just all in here. You've got values, I think it is, 1 to 8 in the colors. And then you've got the potions that are 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you shuffle up the deck, and you are going to deal every player 12 cards. And of those 12 cards, each player has to give 4 to the city. And that's going to be essentially playing Scotland Yard. So I'm going to put 4 out of the game. Those go in the reserve. Those are the 4 remaining cards that are not dealt to any of the players. And then I'm just going to give that 8 and then 8. So there's that 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so here we've got essentially the 2 players. And then we've got our Scotland Yard over here. Now, Scotland Yard's going to start. They're going to flip over their card, and that's going to be the lead suit. And what you do with these discs over here is you put down the suit that matches. So in this case, it's going to be gray. They're going to put this card down leading, and then it's going to go in player turn order. So Mr. Hyde's going to go, then Mr. Jekyll's going to go, and we're going to see who is going to win the trick. Now, if you have that, you need to match. And what that means is if you've got a black card in your hand, which, by the way, I would never have an 8 in my hand. You always have to give the 8s to you have to give it to the city. So I'm just going to trade that out, and I'm going to shuffle that card into there because I don't want you to see that there's 8s in there. But now I've got, holy crapola, I've got a lot of those gray cards. So I can play a card that's going to beat it if I want to win the trick. So let's just say Mr. Hyde plays the 5, has to play, and then again here, it looks like no gray cards. So you can play either a potion, which matches the gray, or you can play a card that is not matching. And in the beginning of the game, you are establishing the trump power or the more powerful card. So let's say that Dr. Jekyll wants to play out that 2. Again, it's because they don't have any grays. They then put that blue in the token right here, which means that now red goes on top. This is the least powerful card or suit for this particular round. Then blue beats gray, and then orange beats blue. So if you look at the cards out here, this was the lead. This was my card that I played as I guess that's Lewis's Mr. Hyde. And then I play this because I don't match. Well, blue is higher than gray, even though the 2 is a lower number. So then it would go to Dr. Jekyll would win that particular trick. Now, as you can count, there are going to be 8 total tricks that could be won by either the city, by Mr. Hyde, or by Dr. Jekyll. And what you're going to do is count the tricks won by the player who has the least amount of tricks. So let's say Dr. Jekyll takes 3 tricks in the game and Mr. Hyde takes 2. You'll move your pawn at the end of all 8 trick turns, the amount of space of the lowest amount of tricks won. And that's going to get you closer and closer to the end. That's the gist. That's the general goal of it. And what you do is there are these chapter cards that will walk you through all the rules of the game. They will also give you some delicious flavor text and some beautiful artistry by none other than my favorite artist, Vincent Dutrait. Yes, 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 yes. So what it tells you in your chapter is where you start the round, which in this case it would be 4. You have to get exactly to the end. And you ignore all of the different images, and there are round rules. And so if you complete it, you're going to get the achievement and you move on. Each one of these games lasts, I think it says 20 minutes, sometimes 15 if you're playing the earlier chapters. And then chapter 2 is going to teach you and add a new rule. You are now going to play with the little shadowy figure which shows up on the 8 cards in the game. And then chapter 3 is going to add the last set of rules, which asks you to use that kind of Scotland Yard symbol. And so you're going to learn the game as you play the first couple chapters, and then when you get to 4, it's the entire game, and you have all the way to 10 chapters to play with all these different goals and lovely, lovely artwork and flair. So there is just a ton to like here. I'll tell you one thing. I really, really enjoy the fact that the lead card that's played must be followed if it's in your hand. But it doesn't necessarily win. The high number of the lead card doesn't win if it's not the highest value of that particular, suit. So blue would beat, again, gray, and then orange would beat both of those. Now, the other fun thing that I like about this is that there are these potions. And potions get triggered right in the middle of the game, and it essentially matches the previously played card in the round. If it's the first card played, it's the card that comes after it. And then each of these 3 different suits that it could match have a special ability. It essentially triggers you to be able to do something. If you look at this blue one, it asks you to rearrange at least 2 of the tokens here to change the hierarchy of the suits and which one beats which. The red one asks you to take a trick that was previously won by the city and give it to one of the 2 character players, which might help you get where you need to go on the board. And of course, you can discuss this with each other. And then the black one says to take a card from the top of the city deck, and one person's going to do that, putting it into their hand and then trading out a card and putting it on top of the city deck. So these manipulations are forced. They have to happen, and they could help you, they could hurt you, but hopefully you are planning them out. Now, that's the only time that players get to talk to each other. Otherwise, you do not communicate with each other. You cannot talk to each other about what you have or what your plans are. Because again, Mr. Hyde and Dr. Jekyll are not the same person, even though they are the same person. So this idea, this cooperation with 2 minds, brilliantly executed. This is the game that's going to come up, yes, this Halloween. I've already played it several times. And it's going to come up again and again and again. This is the one that I think my husband and I are going to enjoy the most and continue playing. He said he didn't want to stop playing it. So that's a really good sign. So let me set up Dracula versus Van Helsing, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that game. All right, let's keep that 2-player horror Halloween game night going. I have got Dracula versus Van Helsing set up right here, and it's important that you have the two players across the table from each other. So I've got Van Helsing on the top side of the board, and I'm playing down here Dracula, and I've got all my little health bits down here. There are 12 of these. The goal here is for Dracula to turn 4 of these folks in the same region into vampires, and these are 5 different regions. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You'll see pips on the board, and they match the regions of your cards. They must stay in this order: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I can, over the course of 5 rounds, turn 4 folks in one of these regions into vampires, I win. Now, if I can also keep Van Helsing from accomplishing his goal, I also win as Dracula. So what is Van Helsing's goal? Van Helsing is trying to take away my life points. And the way that you win one of these battles with each other is by calling the end of the round. And when you call the end of the round, what you're going to do is you are going to compare your one card with each other, and you are going to look to see, do you have the suit that is the highest valued suit? This is the trump suit. These are randomly placed, cards are randomly drawn, and then the round begins. So if you do, then you look to the number. So let's just say one of us has a teal card right there. We would win. And if it's me that wins, I turn one of those people into a vampire. And if Van Helsing wins, he takes one of my life points. And if I ever don't have more, he takes all my life points, or I turn that 4th person, the game is over and that person wins immediately. So here's how a round looks. Dracula always starts. So I'm going to draw a card from here, and I'm going to take a look at it. So this is going to be the card, and it's got a 3 value, and it also is the teal color, which is actually really good for one of those trump cards, and it has a special ability up here in the corner. All the cards have that. So I'm looking at this, and I say, do I want to discard this? And when you discard a card, you do its special ability. Or do I want to replace it with one of these cards and then discard that card doing its special ability? So you're looking out here to see if you have any cards that would match and be trump cards, which would give you a chance to maybe win. But you have to know, if you see, these are all going to be movable. So at some point in the game, these might be transferred with that. And now all of a sudden, all my teal cards are not the trump card. It's going to be color. It's going to be purple now, or that coffin symbol. So I have to be really careful about my planning because each of these cards has a special action ability. Let's say that nobody has the teal matching card. Then you just go to highest value cards. So having 7s and 6s and 8s, which are the highest, 8 is the highest, is actually pretty good even if it's not in the teal color. And if we share on the number, we then look to see for breaks on ties. Yellow, then red, then purple. So I want to replace this, and I want to replace right here in this space. And the reason is I actually want to do that ability. So the really cool thing about this is you just take a look in the book, and there's this space right here called card effects, and it just takes you through all the different card effects. So I did number 2, which was reveal the top card of the deck. The reason this is helpful is because I reveal it and I know for a fact that that is going to be the card that my opponent takes because my turn is over. You draw a card and you either play that one, doing its ability, or replace a card and then do that card's ability. Whatever you discard, you have to activate the ability, always. So now I look and say, I know that Van Helsing is going to be taking a 3 purple and will get the chance to do the 3 purple ability, which is to reveal one of my cards. Now, the thing about revealing is that you just simply take the card out and place it into the space where it is face up. And that card will always be face up until it's discarded. So it gives that information to your opponent to know what you're fighting with and what value you have and what your suits and colors are so that they can hopefully defeat you, because this is going to be a 5-point battle of each of these trying to win. You can't win them all unless you have a really bad round, but hopefully you'll be able to get back into it. So my opponent's going to take this card and do the same thing that I did. So this is the game. This is how it works. You are just going to try to get the best set. So let's say he discards this and makes me reveal my 5. Because purple is the lowest value right now. 3 is not as good as what he has. And he wants to see one of my cards and says, wow, that's a 5 teal. You're probably going to win that 5 over here. I'm going to turn one of those folks. Unless in this card spot, he can get a higher value teal because that's the trump. Or he could possibly play a 7. Now, a 7 does the thing I was talking about. You have to be really careful about these. Swap the trump color token with another color token. Wow, wow, wow. So on your turn, you either take a card and then discard a card, which is generally what the game is going to be. At some point, when there are at least 6 tiles out here in the discard pile, any player can say, I want the round to end. The other player, that's your turn. You have to say, I want the round to end, but the other player gets a chance to have one more turn. And that's the rub. So when you call the end because you think you can win these, your opponent gets to do one more turn of drawing a card, looking at it, and then maybe doing it. Oh, wow, I'm going to play this 6 out, and it says I get to exchange one of my cards with one of their cards. And I know that he got a really, really good one here. So I'm going to change out my 6. No, I'm going to change out my 4 with their card here. Holy cow, look at that. I just got the 8. I got the big, bad, cool one. I got to do that. And again, there has to be 6 out here, not just 3. But he called it, and then I did it, and now I'm going to be winning number 4, which is so cool. There's a way to get around that, though, and it's using this 8. The 8 value says you can play it out, and it says you can't do it unless there are 6 cards in the discard pile, and then the round ends right away. The other person does not get a chance to have their extra turn. See? Super cool. But the 8 is so valuable because it's such a high number. So at this point, all you do is you simply turn your cards over like this. I'm going to turn my cards over like that. And then I go, okay, 6 is higher than 3 in the 1 column. I get to turn someone to a vampire. 3 is the trump, or sorry, the teal is the trump, which beats. It's not the 3 to the 1, it's the trump color. So I get to turn someone in the second section. Here, neither of us have that. Oh my gosh, it was a full sweep. I did not set this up to be like this. I just put out random tiles, and then you saw me, I went and stole this one. But anyway, in this case, we have to go to numbers. So 7 beats the 6. I'm going to turn someone here. Teal beats non-teal, so I get to flip it here. And then my teal beats that purple, so I'm going to flip someone here. That's how you do it. That's going to be a round. You move the ship, and then you're going to shuffle up all these cards again, and you're going to just draw your 5, one at a time, placing them in your space. So these are going to stay, and then hopefully Van Helsing can come and grab some of my heart. It's actually like a stake. It's like a stake in the heart, which is really, really cute. This is it. This is the game. The one thing I really like about this is that the usability of the game, super, super easy. The tiles are clear. The colors are really lovely. I love the theme. I love these really, really sturdy wooden, bins here. I say bins, but trays for you to put these cards in. And these cards are actually cardboard cards. They're thick. They're not like tile thick, but they're thick, and they have just such lovely feel to them. I don't know if you can see how thick they are. So that's the back of the card, and you'll see that it's got a nice amount of thickness to it. So it's really, really lovely, and there's not too much to keep track of because you've got your super easy card effects. So you just take a look at this whenever you want to know what your card is. You set it to the side, and after the first round of playing, you're pretty well versed with what the cards mean. So I think the quality is here. The size of the game box is perfect. And there's one more thing that I want to share about this game that got me really, really excited. So it's got this whole story to go along with it, and it's got my super sneak peek game. So I spent like 2 rounds, 3 rounds in the first game playing this, looking at all of these amazing, amazing creatures. So on one side, of course, yes, you get citizens. On the other side, and these are all unique, by the way, you get the vampire side of them. And I just kept looking at them and I kept thinking, they look so familiar to me. I am absolutely adoring this artwork. So I think this looks to me exactly like the artwork in The Bloody Inn, which is one of my all-time favorite games. So I go and look and I see down here and it says Weberson Santiago. And I'm like, that name is just not ringing a bell. It just can't be. But I really, really feel like it's the same artist. So I hunt around the room and I grabbed my Bloody Inn and I looked down there and I lost it because I just knew it's like this artwork is so unique. It is so interesting. I absolutely love it. I am crazy for it. I mean, just look at the cover of this. It's brilliant. So I think this is my secret special recommend for your Halloween game night. And while these two games are exactly for 2 players and each take about 20 to 30 minutes to play, I think you should tack on The Bloody Inn, which is about an hour-long game, but works really, really great for 2 players. So I'm going to add this in, and I know for a fact my husband's going to be really, really excited. And for me, it's just another way to celebrate beautiful, beautiful artwork in games. I cannot get enough of looking at these 2 games and keeping these 2 games in my collection. I do feel like Dracula versus Van Helsing feels a lot to me like Battle Line, which I adore, and the newer version, Shot and Totten. I think that sometimes with the card effects, when the players choose to do something, it can have a pretty wide swing with what you've been planning and working on for, turn after turn after turn, but you have multiple rounds to do it. And you just play again. You really do. You just play again. So it does have that lovely feel of, oh, we're just fighting with each one of these, one card right across from the other. And it's clear what Dracula's going for. It's clear what Van Helsing is doing. And so hopefully one of you can accomplish your goal. But I think for me, it's the quality. It's the quality. The design is fantastic. I think Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard might get played a little bit more. But they're both lovely, beautiful, beautiful games. So this is just, I'm sorry, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. I am just a massive, massive fan of this style of artwork. I'm showing you a handful of each of those numbers because these, again, are just so dynamite. Come on. So yes, and yes. Gosh, have a fantastic, safe, happy Halloween. Do all the fun things you want to do. Pull out your vampire teeth and, have a ball and play some games. All right, everybody. I'll see you later.